You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find
and
it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you.
Ooh.
Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Starten Kiefer Titelpigs, yeah. Keith Scarver Titelpigs, oh yeah. They're gonna talk about sweet, sweet RPGs. And it's the Titterpigs, the RPG podcast. Am I getting paid for this one?
Hey listeners, welcome back. This is episode 52 of the Tattletales. No, it's the Titterpigs. We are back in the studio. We were trying to rebrand ourselves. It's not working. So we're going to stay the Titterpigs.
I mean, Two Old Fucks is already taken, so I guess we'll just stick with who we already are known as. But
yeah.
But yeah, we are definitely back in, here to have a little chat. As you've probably noticed in the thumbnail, we're going to have a little talk about WHPA. But before we do that, what have we been up to since the last we recorded? Keith?
What have I been up to? I have been reworking our nascent website.
Our web presence, you mean, or something like that?
Yeah, like okay. The website I created months ago, like back in the spring, and didn't do much with, and I have been really like finally getting around to like working on it, re-envisioning it, and setting it up, and getting our RSS feed loaded to it. And I brought over some things that I was doing with rolling boxcars. Oh, what was I doing? Oh, geez. I am absolutely drawing a blank today. I love being off work for like 4 days now. It's great. The virtual game convention. Rotating roster that I was doing at Rolling Boxcars, I have brought that over to our website.
Cool.
So that is a thing I've been building up and getting it published and getting the latest episodes through the RSS feed loaded there. So that's an automatic thing. And then, but also publishing the newest stuff as articles and all of that. So just kind of getting our web presence there. I've been spending some time doing that and some freelance work. And I
promise soon enough that it won't be a one-man show regarding that. I have just been...
It's all good.
I have been a tad busy, so to speak. So, but that aside, anything else new? Anything else going on with gaming? You played any games recently? Or
playing in the Pendragon game you've been running. I've been running some Weird Heroes of Public Access, which we're going to talk about in the next segment. I've been doing some freelance work that I really can't discuss.
I know what it is, but I'm not going to say anything.
It.
Yeah.
But I tried Daggerheart recently. That was the start of a multi-session campaign. So far, so good. It's interesting. Still kind of get a feel for the mechanics, but so far I like it. I kind of dig that they've taken what they felt was the best of a lot of different systems, threw it all in a blender, poured it all out. It seems to work well, but we really haven't explored a lot of it yet. So still kind of getting our sea legs, as it were, with it. So more to follow on that once we get some more time under our belt. And the last thing I've done...
Go ahead.
Is just starting to cut my teeth with Twilight 2000, the 4th edition from Free League. Just did character generation with one of the players. So more of that to follow. And then hopefully after the convention, which is in, I guess, 3 weeks from now, actually, well, a little over 3 weeks from now, try to get that ball rolling and get that game going.
Yeah. I mean, they're continuing to support it. I mean, say what you will, if you like, this version or not. Outside of that, it's definitely turned out not to be a one and done.
No.
It kind of got off, with a little bit of
It was a slow start.
A limp. Yeah. Well, I mean, because of, certain things of that time, but it seems like, I don't know, like a week ago or so, they announced something else coming out. Now, not being well versed in it, I don't know if this is just a rebranding of old stuff or they're producing new stuff for it, because, I mean, there's no shortage of materials for them to lean on, but, it's definitely worth, looking into.
I think, so the new one that's on pre-order is called Operation Reset. It's another box set.
Okay.
Slimline box set, but I think it is a rebranding, and I'm a rebranding of an older product.
Mm-hmm.
I am not well versed in the older stuff. This is my introduction to Twilight 2000 is this version. I do have some of the older Splat books that I'm kind of digging into just for reading purposes and material, but I've never played an earlier version, so I couldn't tell you. I don't know all of the lore, all of the canon. So I can't tell you if this is truly a rehash, not a rehash, but a rebranding, respinning of an older product or not. Like Black Madonna is a redoing and an expansion of the original. I do know that.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
So,
no, I believe that new one leans into or expands the traditional opening scenario of Twilight 2000. But
Operation Reset is the triggering event for Twilight 2000.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Operation Reset or something by another name was a previously published product for one of the other 7,000 editions of it.
Right, exactly. So
I don't know.
Cool. And we talked about this earlier, but I'm curious to see how your defining opinion of it once you kind of get through more of Daggerheart, because it's one of those games where I'm sure you can appreciate it, where you want the opinion of someone like yourself who doesn't kneel before the altar of Critical Role, nor do you blame them for ruining the hobby. So that's kind of like the most of the loudest responses you get for this is either A or B. So it's hard.
They're either fanboys and girls, or they're screaming on high that they hate them with a passion.
Right. Yeah. So it's hard to find a defining opinion without being somewhat either on the left or right, which kind of rings a bell, but we won't go there.
I don't know what bell it rings.
But cool, yeah. So as for me, I've got we've been involved in some of the same things. The Pendragon game, it's fun. I'm enjoying it, much to our chagrin, as you've kind of been my co-rules attorney. We'll obviously talk about it in depth. I think we get through the Grey Knight, that might be a good time to bring everyone together and give our opinions. But much like many core rule books, and sometimes they tend to be a symptom of chaosium at some point, finding these rules can be a pain in the ass but
as somebody who works on the product line, I have to temper what I say.
But thankfully it doesn't detract from the entirety of the enjoyment, and it has been good fun. And for those who are listening, this is not an entirety completionist approach. We've taken some liberties with how we've done some things. Mind you, primarily following the spirit of the rules in the game itself, but there's been plenty of times where we followed that age-old rule of, just fucking make it up. Let's keep it rolling and we'll deal with it later.
Yeah. As Keith is sitting, kind of off camera, like I've got this book open over here, this PDF on a screen over here, and I'm fishing for rules. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's got to be the first time someone went to someone who knows a bit about Pendragon and says, Keith, are there rules for Greco-Roman oil wrestling? Because I kind of need them right now.
Yeah. There is not, but just for the record, adoration, passion, you can only have one.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah. Now, unless the GM
right
forces a second one onto a player for fiction purposes,
yes,
that is the only time there can be a second one.
Now, of course, how hard would it have been to put a little asterisk, and at the very bottom, little script. Hey, by the way, technically, you're only allowed to have one. See, yada yada, page yada yada. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's. But hey, you know what? Your Pendragon may vary. So mine has
that is true. That is true.
Mine has 2 adorations, and y'all can kiss my adoration. But other than that, just I picked up about 4-ish old games that I was going to do kind of an unboxing deep dive into over the next several weeks, and I picked up Underground from the 90s. Okay. I picked up oh God, of course, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm drawing a blank. Let's see, what else? I picked up the big one though that I did get for cheap was a copy of The World of Cinnabar, which is on the top 5 list of worst.
You did say you got that.
Yeah, worst RPGs ever. It's one of the ones. It's one of the few on that list that I've never read. And whereas the other day I had mentioned it in Impossible Landscapes, which is nothing I'm doing. I started Zero Session, but we won't take too long on this. But Scott Dorward's in the game, and he said, most of the ones who are the most hated, like Fatal and other things, is because they're horribly misogynistic, racist, sexist, all the isms, thrown into one horrible package. But The World of Cinnabar, for the most part, is just bad. So I'm looking forward to going through this and taking a dive into this train wreck and just see if I can turn away from it or not. We'll see how that goes.
I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious how your read through goes. Like, is it just utter shite, or is it like intriguingly decent?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Before my daughter decides to start vacuuming, why don't we go ahead and take a little breather, and we'll move on to the next segment from here to talk about weird heroes of public access.
Greetings from my bath, festive friends. The holidays are overwhelming, but I'm tackling this season with PayPal and making the most of my money. Getting 5% cash back when I pay in 4. No fees, no interest. I used it to get this portable spa with jets. Now the bubbles can cling to my sculpted but pruny body. Make the most of your money this holiday with PayPal. Save the offer in the app.
Ends 12/31. See paypal.com/promo terms. Points can be redeemed for cash and more. Pay in full subject to terms and approval. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.
This is a Bose moment. You've been there before. Somebody's apartment, small talk that's going nowhere, plastic cup that's almost empty. It's not great. Then someone hits play on a Bose speaker. Heads nod, feet tap, one person dances, then everyone does. Awkward becomes electric. When Bose sound fills the room, you don't just hear the music. You feel it. Your life deserves music. Your music deserves Bose. Find your perfect product at Bose.com/Spotify.
Hey, we're back after the whole vacuuming incident of the first segment. Holy crap, that was loud. You guys didn't have to hear that. We cut it all out. Or at least we cut most of it out. At least I did. Anyways, we're back. Scott, what the hell is Weird Heroes of Public Access? And who the hell is the Reverend Joey Royale?
So, Weird Heroes of Public Access obviously, is a role-playing game by Joey Royale, as mentioned, from Get Haunted Industries. The gist is the strange, the supernatural, the absurd collide with the world of small-town public access television. You and your friends are the host of niche public access shows in the quirky town of Fairhaven. When you're not filming your segment on obscure hobbies or odd local history, you are battling monsters, investigating spectral mysteries, and whatever weirdness the mysterious station manager sends your way. All in all, it really embodies the famous Hunter S. Thompson quote, "When the going gets weird, the weird turns pro."
Well,
insert clapping and see. How about that for some scripted, nonsense? So I prepared.
Wow, Scott can read a script. Holy shit, people!
That's in a nutshell. And for those who are listening, not to be confused with Jason Cordova's public access, for all intents and purposes, is a totally different vibe, totally different game, and the only thing they really share is just the name for the most part. But this
part of the name, not even the whole name.
Not even the whole name. So yeah, but no, this is a different game. This is a special game. This is a game that may not be for everyone, but it's surprising who it ends up being for when you run it and play it. So
I was quite surprised.
So Joey Royale. Joey Royale is someone who is probably best associated with Goodman Games, Dungeon Crawl Classics, as he has been utilized in his talents and personality in running their games at various conventions, or I would say Gen Con, maybe, because that's where we've seen him. But I know that he's done other things. He's involved with their social media aspect. He's done
some YouTube channel stuff for them.
Right.
He's done a few things for them. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, like with many of the DCC people, they have these wonderfully quirky personalities that tend to stretch out beyond the foundation from where they're working. With Brendan LaSalle, you have X-Crawl Classics, although X-Crawl's always been there, but in its new home, you've got other people who are doing wonderful and fabulous things that may or may not be directly associated to DCC, but they are part of this wonderful group of just weirdos and beautiful freaks and quirky personalities. And one of those is, as you mentioned, the Reverend Joey Royale, who I don't know how many years, but there was an announcement a few years ago of a little pink zine that kind of started popping up.
Which
around.
I have right here for those that will see the video. I have the pink zine.
Right. You would see it. You would see it at the Goodman Games booth. There wasn't. I don't even think there was a Kickstarter for it. You had to go to like his Etsy site to get the physical copy. It arrived in an envelope along with a little bit of paraphernalia, maybe a sticker.
This mysteriously appeared at my house one day. 2 copies of it.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. So a friend of the show, a friend of ours, he's been on the show, Pookie, right? Mm-hmm. So Pookie sent 2 copies here. One for him, one for me.
Right. Okay.
as Pookies do.
Right. We both played the game. We both have run the game.
Yes.
And it's left some impressions. So this is kind of going to be, it may not be like a total structured review. We're just going to jab on a little bit about it, but we're going to give some thoughts. Some mostly positive, some we'll say constructive. And some observational should you decide to check out this game for yourself. But so why don't we start with you, Keith? Generally speaking, and what are we going to focus on? Do you want to focus on just, the primary core? Because it comes in 2 different flavors. It comes in the little pink zine and other various individual zines. And then there's also the recently kickstarted and crowdfunded and version, which is the Weird Heroes of Public Access, the role-playing game, the book, which kind of rolls, 4 or 5 of these things into one neat little package. So we'll just want to focus on the core.
Let's just focus on the core, because I have both versions. So I have the pink original, right, which is just the core. And then I have the book version as well.
Cool.
I haven't used anything outside of what's in the pink book, the pink zine version. I have read the book, hardcover version.
Right.
All 113 pages. And in all honesty, outside of what's in the pink zine, I didn't find the inclusion of the other stuff to be of much value to me.
Okay.
In all honesty. So there's some constructive criticism. Yeah. Not that it's bad material. I just didn't find it for what I wanted to do. I could do everything. I could run it and create stuff and do everything I needed to do with what's in this little pink zine. No, I didn't need to spend $35 for a hardcover book.
No, I agree. I mean, we'll get into the
I'm probably getting ahead of ourselves, but
yeah, we'll get into the details a little bit here in just a second. But I would agree because as we talk about it a bit, you'll find that while it is a complete game, its structure is more a set of tools and seeds for you to build on and make your own Fairhaven, so to speak. But it's very much like that. That screwdriver set that you get or your family gets. And realistically, all you need is just the 2 screwdrivers that are in there, but it comes in a pack of like 36. Yeah. And you're never really going to use those 36. Maybe every once in a while you might need, a star-headed screwdriver, or you might need a hex screwdriver, but you're really just doing with the Phillips and the flathead. And so these other tools sit there waiting to be used, but
get touched.
Never get touched by most people, but they're there.
But I think we need to back up and let's rewind.
Sure.
Momentarily. So for those that may not have a foundation to work from, let's give listeners an idea of what public access television is, because I ran into this. Yeah. I ran this for folks in England. I've run this for folks in Canada.
Right.
And they didn't have a good solid foundation of what public access television was of the 80s, of our era, right? Because we're old white-haired guys. Or gray-haired guys, right? So for those that don't have an understanding or need to put it into context in today's 2000s-ish speak, it's what YouTube became. When YouTube started, that's what public access television was, is what YouTube was when YouTube started.
Right.
Anybody could do anything.
Right. Traditionally, it was usually on, broadcast television, but on what would be known as the UHF signal, usually a local weaker signal. I'm not going to look up the history, but generally speaking, due to some changes in, broadcast television, I believe it involves something to do with cable television, in order to maintain certain agreements and levels and rules within the government and whatnot, yada, 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 local television stations were required to provide a certain amount of time to the general public to broadcast whatever, they saw fit. Now, there were general guidelines provided, but for the most part, none of them, really were followed because
it was supposed to fall within FCC guidelines and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And those that didn't fall within FCC guidelines were the things that were labeled like after dark kind of things, and those were broadcast in the middle of the night and all of that jazz.
But I mean,
crazy people got their starts, like Elvira and what was it, Bozo the Clown, or one of those clowns like that became famous on TV. And
I mean, it
was
where
people got their start,
right? Monster movie nights. It was special aficionados of certain subjects that they wanted to share with other people. Some were good, some were bad.
Most were not.
And but it ran the gamut from, like you mentioned, Elvira, monster movie theater, people, playing old monster movies that didn't really have copyright issues anymore, and to talk about them. People who would do talk shows, and we're not talking about like local talk shows, for weird talk show hosts that eventually would roll into what would become like Jerry Springer. That Jerry Springer format began with people on public
like
access
early
TV.
versions, and I don't know that it sprang out of this, but like Mystery Science Theater 3000, right?
Mm-hmm.
May or may not have been influenced by public access television because it kind of has that vibe when it first started of watching shitty B-rate and C-rate movies and then just giving just trashy commentary over the entire thing.
Yeah, no, and piano lessons. Just how to water your plants properly. The
exercise shows,
rock shows. Musicians. Several musicians. I mean, I think Bon Jovi infamously was discovered from a public access music show. So clear examples would be things like Wayne's World, and the famous movie Weird Al Yankovic's UHF. So yeah, and this was of its time, 70s, 80s, early 90s, saying before it kind of fell to the wayside in its use and popularity due to the advent of the new format, the internet, which now suddenly people didn't have to leave. Yeah, and YouTube. Now people didn't have to get up and leave their house to go be a bunch of weirdos and freaks. They can do it from the comfort of their home, which opened the door for a lot of more interesting things to come. But yeah, there you go. It essentially was YouTube and TikTok before it was YouTube and TikTok.
YouTube and TikTok, yeah. When I framed it that way for the players, they went, "Oh, I get it."
Yeah,
ta-da! Exactly. The light bulb went on.
Right. So imagine, So there's a local station in this town of Fairhaven that provides access for all these people to showcase their specialties, their productivities, their talents and whatnot. But there's an underlying reason for that in the game because these people also have special abilities due to their interests and talents that the mysterious station manager, generally speaking in the game itself, it's the Reverend Joey Royale, but it can be whoever you want, who is gathering these, groups of special people to take care of the seedy and mysterious underbelly of this 70-ish, 80-ish, ambiguous kind of era town, low-tech analog technology. And there you go. But the premise itself is kind of nothing new. But
no, it's solving weird mysteries. I equated it to my players as they are the to frame it to like another game that they had all played. I'm like, you are the agents in like a Delta Green game. The station manager is your handler. Let's just file the serial numbers off and go down to brass tacks and have super simple rules. And it's going to be wild, zany fun, and let's get at it.
Yeah.
And they went, oh shit, let's do this.
Right. No, it's there's definitely that gap from people who didn't grow up during that era, or primarily who weren't in the United States, because for the most part, this style of public access, where these particular type of people came from was a United States thing, because we're a country full of freaks. So,
we are.
But enough about what the game is. I think we've kind of gave the general idea of what it is. But the game itself. So let's get into things like the rules. So, and it doesn't waste any time jumping into it. But like with any good game that's providing the rules to you, are the rules clear, and does it provide a good job? So I'll let you take the lead on this.
The rules are relatively clear. It's a simple D6 system.
Right.
You are rolling a single D6. Anytime you want to do something and the game master says you need to make a roll, you're going to roll a D6. And then you are going to add the value of one of your skills. You have 4 skills. You're going to add the value of that skill, of the appropriate skill, in D6s to the die pool. So if your value is 2, you're going to add 2 more D6s to roll a total of 3D6.
Right.
And then you are looking for 5s and 6s. Any 5 or 6 is a success. You only ever need 5 or 6 to be success. Mm-hmm. And you're going to do whatever it is you wanted to do. It is that simple. That is the game, the core mechanic in a nutshell. If you roll all 1s on whatever the total number of dice is that you are rolling, whether it be 1 die or 6 dice, doesn't matter. You have fucked up. And you have failed horribly, and you are going to lose 1 hope. What hope is the game's equivalent of your health points. Health, whether it be mental health, physical health, it's the game's equivalent of all of that in 1.
Yeah.
If you were to roll all 6s, whether it be 1 die or 10 dice, it doesn't matter. You are going to gain and bank 1 special ability point. And then every character has a special ability.
Right.
Whether that be X-ray vision, you can teleport something lightweight from point A to point B, maybe 50 feet, up to 100 feet, whatever it is. Right. Burst of speed, doesn't matter. You can bank that point, and then you can cash that point in to use it and trigger your special ability at any point in time you want in any scene, and it's going to happen. Great thing. But that right there is the core of the mechanics to play the game.
Yeah.
Where it gets a little ambiguous is you have props. Every character has props related to the show in which they are the host of. And then every character has a safety item, which is typically some type of weapon or something that can be used as a weapon.
Right.
Because God knows they're all going to get in fights.
Right.
Let's face it. Now, nowhere in this little fucking pink book could I find, and nowhere in the hardcover book could I find, unless I am just blind, and that is quite possible, anything that says you gain an extra die to your die pool to use your safety item, or a prop when you are using it in a very constructive way to, in the narrative, in the fiction, toward whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right.
Now, be that as it may, your Weird Heroes of Public Access may be different than mine and different from the next person. Obviously, game masters are going to do game master things and may do different things. So others may give their players an extra bonus die here and a bonus die there.
Right.
Okay. I did from time to time, depending if the in-game fiction warranted it or not.
Right.
I would. I may not all the time, and sometimes I did. I don't know. I think you did the same when I played in your game.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is the game itself is generally designed, as we mentioned. It's a bit of toolbox. Here's a bit of rules. Here's some tools. Now go out and have fun. Although, in the general gist and spirit of the game, the idea of the emphasis that you need to have this defensive item. Now, pointing out the fact that within the game, nobody is allowed to have guns because the station manager doesn't want that kind of heat. But of course, everyone has any sort of blunt item, sharp item, so on and so forth. I mean, it could even be the heel of a high heel shoe. Immaterial.
I built a character for the game one of the games I'm going to run at a convention in a couple of weeks. The character has a cane. That's one of his props. But inside the cane is a sword.
Right. So that's both one of the strengths and the weaknesses that kind of jump to the front when you start reading the game is this is designed to have you lean very heavily upon your creative aspect and your imagination, and likewise that of your players. But there are certain aspects where you're not sure if this is just for narrative purposes or does it provide something mechanically in the game. Now, the importance of your safety item to me felt like if they lost their safety item, something bad could happen. Therefore, I gave it a mechanical value of a die. And likewise props. If they did something special with the prop, regarding something in a scene, it was another mechanical die. Now, nothing, as you said, with this entire book and every supplemental zine, is there anything in there that says reward your player's creativity with an extra die to the pool? That I have found. I could be wrong, but it just felt right within there. Now, should something like that be pinned to this to specifically say this particular item does yes or no do this kind of thing? Well, I mean, traditionally it's a zine. It's a minimalistic rule book that gives you some things to have fun, and you can kind of make your own thing. It's following the spirit of, rulings not rules, although that doesn't always hold up in certain aspects of any RPG.
Right.
You do need some sort of foundation to work from, and it seems like the foundation kind of gets you right to the edge. And it could have, if it would have just gone a little bit more, people could have moved past the rules aspect of it and into the more creative parts of the book, which we'll get into in a bit. But yeah,
I think it's missing like just those couple of mechanical bits to finalize it personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like character creation goes quite smoothly.
Yes,
I can build characters.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me longer to like mentally like drum up an idea in my head, like what kind of show are they going to do, and then kind of build the props around it and like that kind of thing, like creatively come up with the character than it is to just like jam out characters. They're super quick, super easy.
Right.
So that part's easy. Understanding all of the other basic elements of the mechanics, like combat, which is just a derivative of regular like skill rolls,
right,
is super easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just those like little bits, like should the safety item add a die to the die pool if they use it, and when should they be using it? Like, because if it's going to give a die, they're going to use it every time. Well, should it only be used in certain circumstances? Like, I think you could have added like 3 or 4 sentences to define it instead of putting in like one like piece of art for like all these like adverts, these phony adverts, which are great, but like, and the props, like, do the props add anything to, or are they just thematic things that the players can use? Because my players were using all of their props, like as elements within the fiction, which was great. And I wasn't giving them any bonuses to that, only the safety item when I felt it really warranted it. And it wasn't every time, but I was just letting them run with it because the dice pools were just would get stupid big.
Yeah, I mean, the props are designed to give them an opening to try to solve a problem in a creative way. Now, should that give a mechanical bonus? It depends. I mean, if your prop is a floating duck and you need to throw it into the river to save someone who's drowning, but if you say, well, I take out my penknife and I pop the duck, and the pressure of the air that's been in there for 20 years shoots me out into the river to skip across it and scoop him up and save him, I would probably give someone an extra die for that creativity. But just the simple fact of the matter is the props that you have, for the most part, are going to need to be used creatively, because
absolutely.
I didn't spare. I tried my best not to give anything directly mundane. I wanted them to look at this particular item that seems just like, a bottle of sparkling soda. What well, you like it.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this? Well, I don't know.
I gave all of mine like rather what looks to be mundane items, but how do they use them? Like, so for example, I have a clown.
Yeah.
In one of my pre-gens is a clown for one of my scenarios that I'm running. And the character has big pink clown shoes.
Right.
They have ankle weights and a set of ankle weights. No weightage specified.
Right.
Player can decide that in the moment if they need to, if it becomes important. And they have a horn.
Yeah.
Now, that pre-gen has been used twice, and 2 times I've run that scenario. And it has played out completely differently in both situations. And The shoes have been used to good effect in the second one. The horn has been used to good effect in both.
Right.
The weights have been used. They have been thrown around to good effect in both.
Right.
I didn't feel like it warranted like a bonus die, but like they both players like just embodied this whole clown thing. So the reason why the ankle weights, if anybody's wondering, is the characters, the pre-gens show is a fitness show, and the character's name is the clown's name is Squishy, and so it's the show is called Jazzercising with Squishy. So
right,
yeah.
So and yeah, I mean.
That's the kind of antics we're talking about.
Yeah, but we're talking about pre-gens here. So pre-gens tend to be a little bit easier because you're provided the quote-unquote props and you try your best to work with them. But character creation itself, I do feel that this particular aspect of the game does require a bit of GM hand-holding, especially when it comes to things like that. But what they do is Joey and the others who have participated in this book do give you a bit of a helping hand. So when you're generating your particular stats, which is 2 points, I believe, into something and something, you roll into the type of host that he's suggesting. Now, again, this is a toolbox, but I think this is the one where they've done the better job of giving you definitely something to assist the players with this. So you've got spirituality. So think of the mystic mind
reader. Think of the fortune teller that you would like call the 900 numbers on in the 80s. It's kind of like that, but television version,
right?
Things like that.
And then depending on the different ones you choose, spirituality, fitness, monster movies, local talk, special interest, you get to put extra points into your various abilities. Which, real quick, are mind, mouth, body, and soul. Yep. And then they also give you some other special gifts, and depending on what you are, and also special connections and gadgets and things such as that kind of rounds out your character.
The connections could be above board, or they could be like more nefarious connections.
Right.
Underground connections to where, like within the fiction, if you needed to find information, like if you're playing like an episodic type game,
right,
and you needed to have connections in the banking sector for some reason to get information, and you had a connection with a bank teller, you could tap into your connection.
Yeah.
And there you go. So some of those, for lack of a better term, archetypes, archetypes give you connections, and then just say you have a professional connection. You, building your own character, can define what that connection is. Right. You want to have a banker connection? Great. You want to have a connection to a video store clerk? Great.
Right.
You can define that and then, hopefully be able to tap into it.
Right. Define it, name them, the store. I mean, the creative aspect, again, I've said it, but that's where it shines. I mean, it really gives players, and likewise the GM in regards to just creating the game, a lot of leeway, but a lot of good things to kind of work off of that can leapfrog you into other things. And then character creation ends with probably what I feel is my favorite part of it, because I had so much fun in doing the pre-gens and coming up with ideas of what is their supernatural ability. And like you said, it could be something like X-ray vision, levitation, things like that.
Yeah.
But I think you did, and likewise I did, and also your players might do something that's more themed to the type of public access hosts they're doing, and it could be some pretty crazy stuff. Now, there is a catch though, and you had mentioned the catch earlier, and the catch is in your die pool. If you roll all sixes, you get a point to spend on this special ability that you can use once per session.
Yep.
Now, how many people did you have that ended up with your special ability? And the one, yeah, okay.
One.
So there's that the special abilities sometimes don't even come out in the game, which some people might take issue with. I don't know, but
it's really on like an extreme bell curve. I had in my second game, I had one person roll all ones, and I had one person roll all sixes. Now the catch was they both came up when they were only rolling one die.
Right.
That's where one of the other cloudy, murky, muddy, clear as mud parts of the rules are.
Yeah.
That's the other part of the rule, of the core bit of rules that I have an issue with when it comes to these two elements of this kind of bell curve, as it were. Because it only says if you roll all ones or all sixes, but it doesn't say on a minimum of any number of dice. It just says all ones or all sixes. These two things trigger, or one of these two things triggers. Now, you can roll if you don't have, because you can have a skill with 0 points in it.
Right.
So that's why you always roll a minimum of one die.
Right.
So if your mind is 0 and you need to make a mind roll, you're going to roll one die because you have no other dice to add to it.
Right.
Now,
the chance,
your chance of getting a 1 or a 6 greatly increases on one die.
Yeah.
Now, this is the other reason why we may not have a good answer for why props and or safety items add or don't add dice, because you want a larger die pool because you want 5s and 6s, but you don't want a larger die pool because the likelihood of getting all 6s in a larger die pool decreases.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of getting all 1s in a larger die pool also decreases. So it's kind of a weird juxtaposition.
Right. Just so you know, all the other supplements that come with it, there's no rule changes in it. They just do what a supplement normally does. It supplements the game, but the rules are what they are, and they are the same in both the original, and none of that had been changed or updated in the book. And we talked about it a bit. I didn't compare it page for page, but what's in the book looks like it's just almost a straight reprint from the zine. And
I think they, from what I gather, they took the first 3 zines,
right,
and then a few bits and bobs from a few of the others, and then collated them together and made the hardcover book.
So you get through character creation, right? And you're with your players or you're doing it to do your pre-gens, and you're going over the minimal rest of the rules. Now, this is probably my biggest point of contention with the game. All the other stuff, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can work with this. I'm a GM with some skill, and nor are these, confusing rules that even a GM who hasn't, been around the table for a long time could sit there and go, well, I'll do this or that, But then we get into combat. Combat for me felt off. I don't know how it was for you, but so when you're doing combat, what you do is you start off with an initiative roll, and the initiative roll is not the issue. It's just a straight D6, and you go down the line. But what happens is when you do attack somebody, you make a body check. Now, your body check could be 1 die. Your body check can be up to 4 or 5 dice, depending on all the dice you have to throw in the pool and the things that you're allowing, your GM's allowing. And if it's a success, you roll a 1d6 to determine the impact that's going to take away from their hope. As Keith said, is the abstraction of hit points and mental health and just the well-being of your character and the person you're fighting. A result of 1 to 4, you subtract 1 from the opposition's hope. Results of 5 to 6, you subtract 2 from the opposition's hope. The problem is, in the pre-generated game I ran a couple times, the opposition had 6, 8, sometimes more of these hope points.
Oh, yeah.
And what it ended up doing is even though combat is quick, due to the fact that you're literally chipping away a point at a time from these various creatures' hope, that it really, really made it go longer than I felt was necessary. And at a certain point, I'm just, giving them pluses to certain results. I'm deciding, nope, this thing doesn't have 15 hope points. We're giving it 10 because we're 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds into this whole thing because, the variety of difference between people's skill in regards to their body and how many dice that they were having. So how did you feel when you were dealing with combat in the game?
I ran into the same thing. They were fighting the scenario I ran multiple times. They were fighting humans, and they all had 6 hope as well.
Right.
That's typically what a human has, 6 hope, just like the players. And I felt it was running long, and I like to try to keep things like organic, where it feels like everything's just going, and it's this back and forth, and I wanted things to feel natural, right? The ebb and flow, right? Mm-hmm. And not feel like it's just dragging on.
Yeah.
One of the things that the opposition had was, in one earlier scene, was pepper spray.
Okay.
And so one of my players took the pepper spray. So they decided they were going to use it. Mm-hmm. So I let them use it. And when they pepper sprayed somebody and they scored a success, I made a behind the scenes roll and to determine did they get them square in the face, or I basically kind of like mentally charted it out. Like, did they hit them like in the chest? Like, how well did they hit them? Did they get them? Like, did they completely incapacitate them? Right. Or did they only partially incapacitate them? So if I determine behind the scenes, like that they completely incapacitated them, technically they could possibly do 2 hope damage to them, right? Mm-hmm. By the rules. But if you just got blasted in the face with pepper spray, I'm sorry. I've done like the whole gas chamber thing for the military, which is like, a little bit worse than pepper spray, but I'm sorry. Yeah. In the middle of a fight, if you get pepper sprayed, you are not coming back for the attack, my friend. It's just not going to happen.
Supernatural entity or not. These
weren't even supernatural. They were just normal geeks.
People. Yeah. So again,
I determined they go to the ground, snot bubbling, going, and they, and they're just like screaming on the ground, holding their face. Like, right. What are you to do? I mean, you have to improvise these things.
It's still the spirit of the game. Yeah. But it's one of those things where you can almost
tit for tat, like 1 point, 2 point, 2 point, 1 point. I mean, it's great for the players because they're getting chipped away at, which is great. Right. But them chipping away at 1 point, at 1 point, at 1 point, because typically it's just going to be, the average says it's going to be 1 point.
Yeah. Now, some people might say, well, that was the intention all along. You are making the game your own. And I would say,
fuck yeah, I am.
And I'm like, yeah, but not intentionally. This is something that if I had known ahead of the time, it's one thing to improvise within a game as far as situational aspects that your players bring. It's another thing to have to improvise the rules within a game, because all of a sudden you realize that the rules are something that don't really match up with the spirit of what it's trying to do, or you realize that, something is just off, and that's different. And there's no way to determine that.
I was trying to keep it fast. I was trying to keep it, the intensity up. I was trying to keep it zany and quirky, because like, nothing brings a game down more than combat feeling like it's Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. Yeah. Where it just starts to go, I need coffee because I'm going to sleep.
Yeah. And thankfully, you and I recognize that early. Yeah. At least at a certain point, we were like, okay, come on, it's time for me to make a, GM caveat decision. Right. And then, now, did it take away from the overall fun of the game that we were having with the game? No. It's just one of those things where you kind of feel like that, I don't know, what's the term I'm looking for? Like, this is something that I almost feel like they may have solved when they were playtesting the game or they've run it, because they've got to have run this game, because, I mean, we've seen it, and several people have run it. Yeah. But I would be interested if those who have run it think like I do, or you do, or if they just do it as is, or they found some other solution for it. But still, it is something that I feel just maybe a tiny bit of an extension, or or just an open comment after running this game saying, these are the rules, but in certain situational aspects, feel free to modify the game if you feel that it's losing the spirit of the game.
Right.
And something like that. I don't know the exact words to use, but it's.
No, I mean, I'm not going to cast my judgment yet. I'll save that for a few minutes from now. Yeah. But
okay.
The last bit of the book, I mean, I think we've beleaguered that point, but
yeah.
From Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
Tommy back.
Yeah, I am.
And the executive producers of Power.
There's levels to this game.
Comes the final season of Force.
We're gonna have to be careful about our next move.
We get what we can now, and take the rest later. This is gonna be the battle of our life. It's go time.
This is a dangerous life that I choose to be in with you.
Force.
Never bet against me, because I'm always winning.
Premieres November 7th, only on Stars and the Stars app.
Some people think nature is like this, but actually, it's like this. That's why Columbia engineers everything we make for anything nature can throw at you. Columbia, engineered for whatever.
The last bit of the core book has, if you're playing if you're going to do like an episodic thing where you're going to play multiple sessions and do a little mini campaign of your own creation, as a game master, you and your players will create your own version of Fairhaven. You're going to kind of sketch out your own little map, and everybody's going to have a say in like the world building, and there's a little bit of the of a process for that, but it's a super simple process. And then the book gives us a couple of seeds,
rumors to a lesser degree, that have a bit more detail. But no, go on.
But really, seeds and rumors with just a little bit of detail, just enough, in fact, that as a game master, you can take that and use that as the nugget on which to build. Again, that's the start of the toolbox part right there.
Right.
Which the rest of the zine line eventually built on. Yeah. But you take that and then you build on and create a little scenario and adventure off of that. Because the book itself has no scenario in it. There's there's no pick up and play.
No.
You can't play this. You can't create characters and then have a scenario to play. You have to, using what's in the book, you have to create something to play.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a complete beginning, middle, and end, but you still have to have a general starting point. And that's kind of what it provides you to a certain degree. But the other thing it does, which gives it the character it does, and I think this is what a lot of people really love about it, is the presentation of some of these things. Now, what I'm thinking you're describing is the one that is written. There's a bit of background information, but just enough. But within the pages of the book are several advertisements, pictures, and the best way to describe it is think of it as like the back of a comic book, which had these weird advertisements for things. Your local town bulletin, which would sometimes have pictures or articles or weird little.
Reminds me of looking at the Yellow Pages. In fact.
Weird little classifieds, or like your church bulletin. You would look at these things, but embedded within these things are the potential for ideas, because some of them seem normal, but every once in a while you'll read one and go, wait,
like this. Here's something you could, if you, depending on how creative you are.
Yeah.
So one of these says, one of these little adverts, announcing the relocation of Hypnotic Enterprises to Fairhaven. Gives the telephone number, and then it says relaxation and habit control by appointment only.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's
no happy ending at the end of that one.
No, haunted lighthouse tours, Tuesday through Saturday, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Call Captain Bob. So I think this is what a lot of the more creative, the creatives who love this type of game really like about this is within the pages. There's not a whole hell of a lot of within the original zine. What is it? Maybe 20 pages at the most, around there. Maybe
20 pages. Yeah. 21.
But there's a few dozen of these little things that with what Joey's provided you and these weird little quirky advertisements, you have enough to last you as long as you want, as creative as you and your players are, to have this quirky little fun in Fairhaven, just using, the title of an advertisement alone. Your town of Fairhaven is slowly filling in and making its own personality. So, I mean, and because of that, as you and I will well know, the fan base of third-party providers has grown.
It's big.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how big it is.
Because, I don't even know if there's a license. I think Joey's just like, I just mentioned it or something.
I looked for a license. I can't find one. It's kind of like, do what you want.
Yeah, and wonderful things come from it. And it's this, it's a similar, people try to follow the similar format. And, some provide scenarios, some just provide general supplemental information, building out Fairhaven. Others have taken it outside. I believe there's one that's like Woodland Heroes of Public Access, where you pay park rangers or something like that.
I think so, yeah. And then there's one that's a zine, like additional zine line.
Yeah.
That I know you and I have run scenarios from. There's a couple of zines in that line, and that's kind of set up like almost like TV guide, like the old TV guides where you get at the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, some have taken it outside of Fairhaven itself. There's all kinds of stuff.
And that's where it really, really shines is, again, it's a zine. He's trying to put as much information in originally in a 20-page pamphlet. It really took off. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, the people who play these games, who run these games, who create within here, they're excited because it's a non-restrictive foundation to work within, because who the hell doesn't want to do quirky little things for a weird little town in the 70s that, until I just read this advertisement for a haunted lighthouse tours. Is there a lighthouse? Is it near the ocean? Is it not? Is there a lighthouse that's landlocked here for some weird reason? So, and then there you go. That's where people just take off, and that's where I give a lot of credit. For what he's done
So aside from the rules, the reservations that you have with the rules, and obviously I have the same reservations, and given the quirkiness that it provides, the game itself provides.
Yeah.
What is your final judgment?
Off with
on
his
the game
head.
itself.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
What is your final judgment on the game?
My final judgment on the game would be for its minimal flaws that it has. They're not game stoppers. They're very easy to work around, work through, or create from, although it would have been nice to have a little bit more of detail on these things. The creative aspect that it provides outshines these things, and it very well could be addressed in other offerings or third-party aspects, or even just playing the game yourself. I really enjoyed the game, that I would have no problem recommending it, and those recommendations would come with the requirements of you need to make people aware of what public access is to really get the gist of the game. Personally speaking, I think it would probably work best in a short-term campaign, and likewise, obviously, this is one of those games that is perfect for a one-shot or con game. So I don't know if you wanted me to give a number or an aspect, but I'll give it, in spirit of Weird Heroes of Public Access, I'll give it a thumbs up with my right hand and a big toe with my left hand.
Well, okay. Since you put it that way, I think for me, I can overlook the quirkiness with the rules, because obviously I have been, and I'm getting ready to run it twice at a convention in 3 weeks or so. I like what it does. I like the zaniness and the quirkiness, with the caveat I still have, I have to explain to people what public access television is.
Sure.
But I think I got that down to a science at this point. I don't know that I want to run it as like even a mini campaign. I like doing it as one-offs.
Sure.
That kind of stuff. I haven't threaded the needle on the idea of doing something longer quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some ideas, but I don't know how I would want to do them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's yet to be decided.
Sure.
I like the toolbox aspect. I like being able to take like a quirky sign or, an advert or a little nugget in any of these products or any of the third-party products and go, ooh, what can I do with that? And then create something from it.
Right.
So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
However, for those that are not as creative, right? They just want to pick up and go, with something already created. I can see that being a problem for some game masters, right? Because there's not a lot of scenarios, adventures like ready to go and readily available. There are some, but there's not a lot. If you just wanted to grab something to go run at a con, there's not a plethora to pick from. There's only a handful.
Right.
From different third-party publishers.
Yeah.
So that being said, I still think it's a good game. I would recommend picking it up. I would, as I said at the beginning of this, I don't think you need the $35 book. Sorry, Joey. Because you only need the little pink book to run this game.
I would definitely agree. The end of the game at CamCon. At the end of the game at CamCon, I recommended to the kids, and I was playing with kids. I mean, these were high school kids, and just I've said it before, just so everyone knows, it was an absolute blast. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. These kids were belly laughter. They had an absolute blast, and they got the game. They got the spirit of the game. But where can I get this game? And I said, first and foremost, there's 2 different versions. Check out the zine on Drive-Thru RPG. And if you like it, know there's more. And then you can go out and get the book. But the zine is what you're going to get in the book, along with some extra stuff. And if you love the zine and you want the extra stuff, grab the book. I mean, and that's not a fair, that's not an unfair assessment. And I feel that in the spirit of the thing that, Joey would probably feel the same way. But still, of course you'd be like, well, buy the fucking book. But, it's still, it just seems like that's, again, in the whole general big scheme of the, these wonderful people that tend to gravitate around the weird, access of, Goodman Games and the people in there. It's, enjoyment, spirit of the game first. And, if you like it, welcome, come on in, we've got more stuff for you. So,
yeah. We got candy. Come on.
That's a different game.
But I do recommend it. Whether you get the hardcover book, it's $35, or the smaller zine, which I just pulled up their website. They're low on stock. I don't think it's going to be reprinted, but it's a $10.
Right.
So, and then you have to find it on the secondhand market or at retailers. But either one. Still worth picking up, but just know the basic stuff is all you really need to have to run it, to play it, or pick up the PDF. That's that's it.
Yeah.
So definitely worth picking up. Definitely worth checking out. And you owe yourself that much to check it out.
Yeah. If this even sounds near what you enjoy, it's worth it. So everyone, go out, pick up a copy of WHPA, have yourself a good old time in Fairhaven, and solve the mysteries. Have Spunky, the exercising clown.
It's Squishy, the jazzercising clown.
Close enough. Get you back into shape. And Esmeralda, the psychic queen, for only $1.95 can tell you what you're going to get back on your tax refund next year. Create some wonderful games, because that's what it's there for. So until next time.
Remember, don't trust the Fairhaven Police Department.
Yes, do not trust the Fairhaven Police.
And we'll let you figure out why. You have to play to find out.
There you go. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next episode.